Angry claims in the Commons that its arrangements for keeping the London Olympics secure have descended into a shambles.
The Home Secretary, Theresa May, denied to MPs that safety at the Games had been compromised by the failure of the security company G4S to deliver the full number of staff. Extra troops have now been drafted in to help guard the Games. Our senior political correspondent Chris Shipp reports.
That's these troops preparing near the Olympic Park today will now be joined by 3,500 more, has left many awkward questions. Why, just 2 weeks before the Games, did the contractor G4S inform the Home Office they couldn't provide the security staff they'd promised? A point the Home Secretary was forced into the Commons earlier to answer.
G4S has let the country down, and we have literally had to send in the troops.
We were receiving reassurances from G4S until very recently, and the absolute gap in the numbers was only crystallised finally yesterday.
But across the parliamentary estate, Mrs May's cabinet colleague, the Defence Secretary, suggested his department guessed what was happening a little earlier.
When did they find out that this was a possibility?
I think I'm right in saying notice to move was shortened at the weekend for some people.
200 metres! A shortened notice to move means 5 Scots, a battalion at the Royal Regiment of Scotland, will soon be London-bound. Only last week, when ministers announced thousands of army redundancies, these troops were told they were no longer required for combat duties. Similarly, the 2nd Battalion, the Mercian Regiment, which has just spent 6 months in Afghanistan, will have to provide security at the Olympic tennis event.
They've just come back from Afghanistan. They've had a hard time there, difficult time there. They were looking forward to summer leave. And they've also been told that a lot of them are going to get P45s because a battalion of the Mercian Regiment are going to be disbanded.
The cost to the Ministry of Defence of the extra staff is thought to be around £20 million. Here, they're adamant they will not foot that bill and expect to be fully reimbursed. After all, it was their contingency planning that ensured this was only a dramatic turn of events rather than a drastic one. In fact, the London Mayor even suggested it might all look rather good.
If you go to somewhere like Wimbledon, where you see the army or the navy, those very spruce people, it adds to the tone of the occasion.
But after 7 years of planning, the search is now on for somewhere to build another temporary camp like this one and some empty buildings in which to house the additional troops. Chris Shipp, ITV News, Westminster.
Well, tonight ITV News has learned that Home Office officials were warned as long ago as April of serious problems with the ability of G4S to deliver on its security requirements. As our UK editor Keir Simmons now reports, leaked documents highlight concerns about shortfalls in both recruitment and training.
If the aim was to avoid the Games looking like a military operation, there's not much hope of that now. In places on the Olympic Park today, soldiers were as much in evidence as G4S staff. And on the company's Facebook page, continuing complaints from G4S recruits. One former employee, sacked for speaking out, says the system has been in chaos.
I knew it was going to happen. When I was there, they were struggling. Didn't have enough staff. They weren't vetting the staff properly. It was a total rush job from the beginning. So, absolutely no shock.
It was when Olympic venues went into lockdown during last week that it emerged G4S staff were not turning up as planned. A computer failure is said to have caused the problem. But ITV News has seen an email from the Home Office to G4S written months ago, raising concern that 49% of recruits were not completing security training. And an internal document from April which says overall attendance this week appears to be 60% of planned capacity. And even that, it's not clear G4S is really targeting the right people to be X-ray operators beyond basic competency tests. It warns we will very soon start to see big shortfalls against planned numbers. And it reveals that even in April, officials were viewing with trepidation the inevitable last-minute nature of the mass throughput that will be the consequence.
I'm surprised that someone involved in it hadn't put more pressure on G4S and said, well, hang on, you've already said how difficult it was. You've already asked us for 13,500. Are you absolutely certain you're going to get this number? And then drill down and been all over them like a rash.
G4S say their training regime was put under close scrutiny by the Home Office, and officials clearly were asking some searching questions.
I understand that G4S was reassuring the Home Office that it would deliver right up until yesterday. Finally, officials concluded that they simply couldn't rely on that, given the range of issues raised months ago, you might think that was somewhat inevitable. Keir Simmons, ITV News, the Home Office.
And the problems for the Olympics don't end there. The main motorway route from Heathrow Airport into central London remains closed tonight. The